One of my subscribers mentioned the coin shortage that we are faced with now. I mean, you go in some establishment to do business, and they'll tell you they have a note on the door where you walk in at saying that if you're going to use cash, try to have the exact change. Okay, in other words, they are saying that they don't have no coins to give you your change back. Most of the time, a lot of time, your change come back in bills and coins. Um, so one of my subscribers or one of my viewers mentioned that do I believe that the shortage of coins meant that our government or the powers that be were trying to pull the real money out of circulation. Um, because the real money is actually the coins, your quarters, your uh, silver dollars, your nickels, your dimes, your pennies, or what you might call real money. It has what you call intrinsic value, okay, by the strength and the value of the metal that the coin is made of. You know, nickel is supposed to be made out of nickel. Dime is made out of nickel and copper. Quarters are made out of nickel and copper. Okay, now, way before the Depression, 1929, you had most of the coins were made out of pure silver. Okay, and the penny have always been made out of copper. There were a few silver pennies that's still around. They're collector's items. When we had the Great Depression, well, let's just say before we had the Great Depression, you could use silver or gold as legal tender. In other words, you could actually pay a person with silver or gold due to the value of it. All right, because you can do many things with silver and gold. It's precious metal. All right, the top line of precious metal, silver and gold. Okay, they say heaven, okay, was built with streets of gold. All right. Uh, After the Depression, all right, the Depression lasted from 1929 up until probably around 1933, 34. We were just coming out of it, 1934. The government made up something called House Joint Resolution 192. And House Joint Resolution 192 suspended silver and gold as legal tender. And in place of that, they had what you call a note. So before the Depression, they did have paper currency, but the paper currency was a certificate rather than a note. After House Joint Resolution 192, your currency, your paper currency, became a Federal Reserve note. Same thing we use today. And it's legal tender for all debts, public and private. So there's a private side of debt and there's a public side of debt. So today we operate on a Federal Reserve note, which is a promise to pay or give real money. Go to your Black Law Dictionary and look it up. Look up the word note. Okay. So a Federal Reserve note is just basically a piece of paper made from cotton. It's cotton paper, basically. And it has a denomination, but it really don't have any value other than what they give it. The coins have value. Not the Federal Reserve note. There's plenty of coins at the bank. Don't let them fool you that there's a shortage in coins. It's not. Right. There's a shortage in the circulation among the people. There could be. But there's no shortage of coins in the banks and the vaults. The local banks or the Federal Reserve banks. There's not a shortage. See, because see, stores and businesses have to make a deposit every so often when somebody comes in to pay a debt or buy something with cash. So they have to make a deposit, and that deposit is the paper currency and the metal currency or the metal coins. You deposit in bills and coins. All right. See, you used to hear the old folks say, man, let me have a dollar bill. Okay, because they knew that the dollar was a bill. And a bill is a debt. And a debt is a liability. So a Federal Reserve note is a promise to pay. And that's why we have a deficit. So yes, I believe that the coins are being pulled out of circulation, so they will have the real money, and the people will just have the bills, the notes, which is a promise to pay. So after House Resolution Joint 192, the financial institution was able to monetize notes. All right, and from that, they were able to create what we call today digital digital currency. Everything is just based in digits. There's no real money floating back and forth. It's just digits floating back. You go to the bank right now and try to get out $5,000 cash, and it'll take you a minute. All right. See, because banks, your local banks, your local branch banks, they only have a certain amount of currency on hand at any given time. Mm. They take it in and give it out. See, see, I can monetize a note, which is a check. All right. When you get stopped on the side of the road by a state trooper, sheriff, or any law enforcement officer, and you get pulled over for speeding, he writes you a ticket, and he monetizes that ticket. The ticket is not backed by anything other than the words on it. Like, a bank can lend $10 for every dollar that is being deposited into the bank. So they can monetize notes and fractionalize notes. See, with all due respect to the banks, they don't lend money. Mhm. When you go to the bank and try to take out a loan, they're not lending you, you're actually lending them. And they have to determine whether or not you qualify to lend them, which you are because you have unlimited credit, because they have unlimited credit, because the Federal Reserve note is nothing but credit. But they won't give you, the people, the same power that they have, because the Federal Reserve note is printed, just like my old printer over here. I can print documents. That's the same way they print so-called Federal Reserve notes. What did it cost them to print? a Federal Reserve note? About 10 cents. Hmm? So if I can pull all the coins out of circulation, hmm, once I get to the bottom of the barrel, I can crash the system because there won't be no more real money out there amongst the people. They'll have the bills, they'll have the notes, but I'll have the real money, which is the coins, because coins are valuable. So yeah, it could be a possibility that our government is trying to pull all the coins out of circulation because everything is basically going to digital. All right. I tried to check into a hotel the other night, and well, I had my debit card, but it was in the truck, and I had cash on me, and they wouldn't let me pay with cash. I had to pay with a debit card. All right. I went out to the chef store a while back, a couple of Thanksgiving ago, because me and my neighbor, we were looking for a big pot because we was gonna fry turkey. Yeah, and we found one out there at the chef store, and they wasn't accepting cash. Mm. You didn't have a debit card, you couldn't walk out that store with anything. Ain't no different if you had a pocket full of money. Well, you could have $10,000 in your pocket. You couldn't walk out that store with nothing. If you didn't have a credit card or debit card, you couldn't buy nothing. So that showed me, tells me that everything is basically eventually going digital. So yeah, I believe they're trying to take coins out of circulation, and eventually, when the coins go, the Federal Reserve may leave as well. You'll be blessed. Thank you for listening.